Do we get to choose, or has our soul already chosen? What is your perspective on the dynamic of destiny/fate, choice, and co-creation, with the intent of creating the deepest alignment with the universe and soul as possible for our business and our lives? I responded to this question that's in our Telegram group with incoming 5-hour video because I believe that I could probably speak on this topic for 5 hours. What a deep and beautiful question that is. If you would like to ask a question for our YouTube videos, you can join the link down below to our private Telegram community and you'll have the opportunity to submit a YouTube topic from time to time. Now, let's give a brief overview of what's almost the question of life, right? One of the deepest questions that there are in life. So you will have to excuse the briefness and the short amount of angles that's possible to cover this question from. However, I'll intend to be as effective as possible with this and as contextual as possible for business owners and entrepreneurs, because that's what this is about here. So on one end of the spectrum, we tend to have individuals that believe that everything is fate and everything is destiny. And we are either meant to have this experience or we're not meant to have this experience. And that there is a great governing spirit and that there's a great governing universe that is plotting the path for us. And we have to surrender to that. We basically have to surrender to that and let that be so. And on the other end of the spectrum, we have individuals who are deeply in resistance to any sense of a lack of control. They couldn't possibly accept that because they want to control every component of their lives. They don't want to feel as though there's this big governing force in the sky that just creates their fate for them and they just have to go along and deal with the cards that they're dealt. They want to feel as though they can move through life how they want to. They want to believe that they are the creators of their reality and that they're able to choose their own cards and play their own path, etc., etc. So what's my perspective on it? After I've been coaching entrepreneurs for over 12 years now, and I have deeply immersed myself in life. I have shown up fully to the experience of life. I have studied from countless ancient sages and modern sages, and I've really immersed myself in the process of life, and I've really immersed myself in that question. And my personal experience around this is that, drum roll, it is that we do create our reality. We, you, I create my reality in totality. I am the director of my life. I do not believe that there is a pre-written path for me that I must fully surrender to and follow. And at the same time, I believe that the I that is choosing my reality is much more complex, much more expanded, much more whole, much more all-governing than we understand it to be simply within our own mind. So when, for example, you want to have this new client and the client doesn't land and things simply aren't working out for you and you're going through, let's take it even further, you're going through the dark night of the soul where it feels like everything is working against you, that is not necessarily, that is not, in my perspective, a governing force that has written this for you. That is the long-term result of you receiving precisely what you asked for. Now, even when I say asked for, you might say, but I asked for a new client. I asked for $1 million. I asked for the business. I asked for this thing. I asked for that thing. And I believe what's occurring here is it's not as simple as that. Because when you ask for something, there's what you intellectually ask for, and then there is the signal that your entire body, your entire being sends into the world. And those two things, number one, can be completely out of contradiction to one another. Your entire being might say, I don't want another fucking client because my entire life's a mess. And there's actually this, and this area that I truly need to come into harmony with before I even think about another client. So therefore, now you're going on a fucking journey, which you asked for very clearly. There's that. And then there's the component of, well, maybe you do really, truly, in every inch of your being, want another client, right? But your path that you, at a deeply unconscious level, have chosen, your path isn't what you thought it was. It's not what you thought it was. It's almost like you ordered something and you thought it was going to go in a certain way, but it's just going in a different way. So your path towards having this client, you don't know what all the stepping stones are in order for you to fully arrive there. So I believe that we are 100% the directors, that we are 100% the creators. Oh, but what about the universe? And now some people will say, what about God? What about the universe? Well, this level of thinking in and of itself is a level of singularity from the universe, a level of singularity from God, a level of disconnection from. It's funny, I'm even reading a book right now, which is A Brief History of Everything by Ken Wilber. And oh my God, if you want to understand the dynamic of how the entire universe operates, that is a deep dive, and I highly recommend it. And he speaks about how everything is a holon, which is basically like a group that contains, but is also a part of a group that contains, which is part of a group that contains, which is part of a group that contains, etc., onwards to infinity. So we are that part of the universe, of God. And this is what the sages have always spoken about when they've said, you are God. You are one with all. And you are. You are one with all. You are part of the entire cosmic web of life. So if you are that web, how can that web be this external thing that is happening to you? How can that web cause you a destiny, cause you a path, if you are that thing causing it? Now, we could go on and on and on, and we could get into the conversation around what your soul has chosen to experience when it came down into this earthly realm for this life experience in this meat suit. We could go into those conversations, but I believe that's a video in and of itself, and it's actually a core teaching that comes up in a lot of the work that we do. However, that aside, we then need to look at, like, where are we now? Where are we now in this moment? And can we simultaneously. And I have found this to be the most integral approach, the most holistic approach, the most effective approach is to ask ourselves, can we simultaneously send a clear intention of where it truly is we would like our life, how we would truly like to experience our life? Can we clearly send our intention while simultaneously surrendering to that intention? Now, what this means is that we're able to simultaneously take complete responsibility while letting go of control. Because this is where so many people fall into all sorts of strife, is they latch onto control. They start trying to control everything. And if you've had a real fucking journey before, you'll know that if you start controlling, right, if you start trying to control the entire situation, you're going to get into a world of pain really fast. So can you surrender to how you mirror things back to yourself? Can you surrender to what it looks like, while simultaneously remembering that in the vastness of the human experience, you asked for this. And this is where the sages say, you are exactly where you're supposed to be. Not because some external force put you there, but because you sent the signal to the cosmos. You sent it, and you placed yourself here. And what a beautiful sense of relief you get to have to all of your challenges by saying, oh, I placed myself here. Therefore, this is where I'm supposed to be. And in every given singular moment, meaning now and now and now and now, in the perpetual now, you get to ask yourself, and what do I choose next? And what do I choose for myself next? And what do I choose for myself next? Do you see the polarity? It's not surrender to it because you do not have a say, and because it's already written for you and it's already done. But it's also not you will get to, at a micro level, control every component of it. It is that in every moment of now, you are choosing. And therefore, it becomes incredibly important that you're in tune with what the entirety of your being is actually communicating. Because again, I said this earlier, you could have an intellect that is saying one thing, and your entire energy field, your entire limbic system, your entire nervous system, everything is asking for something completely different. And this is what we talk about when we talk about alignment. This is where it's about bringing everything into alignment of what you truly desire. Desidere for those that know. If you don't know, watch this video. Bringing everything into alignment with its desidere. And then, in every moment, remembering and taking ownership for the fact that you choose, but then also surrendering when what you're experiencing isn't what you want, but really all that's saying is it's not what you expected. It's not what you expected. So then, is there a completely separated God? Is there a completely separated spirit? Completely separated? Personally, I don't think so. And that doesn't mean that there's not a component of self or a grandness an incomprehensible grandness of the cosmic web that we cannot communicate to. But it's all still us. It is all still God embodied in us. But with a question like that, the last question left is, what do you think? What do you believe? And does what you believe serve you best? If you're in a moment in life where you're experiencing challenges, where you're experiencing severe breakdown, breakthrough, a pivot point, or you're simply in a moment where you're truly ready to claim what's really here for you as an entrepreneur, invest in a once-off call with myself down below, and we'll sit down together and we'll break through with a level of clarity that you've never experienced before. Other than that, watch these videos, wherever they are, and I'll see you on the next one.